Okay, let me just start. Okay, Astana. Okay, saya
Yeah.
Anura Jeffery dari TITAS Grup 3 di sini hari ini bersama Dr. Ganesh yang bekerja sebagai frontliner untuk Malaysia. Saya mempunyai senarai soalan untuk ditanya. Jadi, adakah kita akan bermula? Sedia untuk memula, Dr. Ganesh?
Ya, selamat pagi semua. Selamat pagi kepada Anura, Jeffery. Okey, saya Dr. Ganesh daripada Kementerian Kesihatan, bekerja di MIPS and also Hospital Kajang. Cik Anura, kita boleh start lah.
Okay. Would you like me to share my screen, Dr. Ganesh, for the questions, or are you okay with me just asking straight?
I'm okay with you just asking me straight lah.
Okay. Alright. Bagaimanakah pandemik ini memberi kesan kepada anda? How has it affected you, the pandemic?
Actually, overall, I can say it's not affected me in an overall way. It's just like making us tired because of we as a frontliner. It's like the workload it's increased, but we didn't take it in a wrong way or in a bad way. Just take it as a good way. Like we need to serve the country and people, so we just go ahead with it. We was like trying our best to get now our government already announced we are already into endemic, so this what we hope for the past 1.5 years for this situation.
Okay, great. Okay, so my next question would be, adakah anda merasakan ia telah menjejaskan kesihatan mental anda? Has it affected your mental health, the pandemic, in terms of being a frontliner and watching a lot of things happen in front of your eyes?
Actually, for me personally, it's not. But some of my working colleagues, they do have mental disturbance throughout this process. I mean, throughout this pandemic situation, because some was like a burnout because of the workload, because of, for example, mothers, I mean, ladies, they need to spend more times in work where they can't really concentrate on their kids and family, so they a bit stressed, so they don't know how to handle it.
Okay, that's very sad to know. Okay, then which brings me to my third question, which will be, adakah hubungan anda terhadap keluarga berbeza? Has being a frontliner and during this pandemic, has it affected your relationship with your family?
Actually, no, because I mean, I need to explain a bit lah. So actually, my father, Mr. Saktazan, he actually asked me to go into this medical line because he might know that somehow in future might happen this kind of pandemic. So he already, and then when come to this pandemic situation, this scenario and this environment, actually all of my family members support me.
That's nice.
Because we all of mentality is we stand as one to handle the situation.
That's very nice to know. So it's because a lot of families, I'm sure they don't have the support that you have, which is very beautiful to know that you have the people backing you up in your family.
Thank you.
So my fourth question would be, I'll ask in Malay and then I'll ask in English just so the flow is better. So, adakah hubungan anda dengan para pesakit terjejas? So, has your relationship with your patient, like if we put together your mental well-being, your health, your situation, and the amount of workload that you're dealing with, has that affected your relationship with the patient?
So for me, like a personal, actually it's not. Actually, even though I'm in MIPS, I think about more than 7-8 months. And previously, when I was in Hospital Malacca, I also taking care of COVID patient about another 2-3 months. So overall, I'm in this COVID team about almost 12 months, which is about 1 year. So throughout this journey, actually, if I my relationship with the patients actually it's very good. Actually, even though I go in to see them, don't in to see the patient, I know they will be down emotionally and other things. So I will try to make them happy. I will chit chat with them. I will try to talk with them their family story, so that to make them comfortable throughout the staying there, and also give them some confidence that they can come out from this pandemic.
Yeah.
So, but like if let's say we talk about overall, some staffs they do have ada yang terjejas lah, okay, ada yang terjejas hubungan dengan pesakit. So these things all happen when there is like a burnout. So when we suddenly the cases was raised high, suddenly 1,000 become 5,000, and then become 10,000, where we like one staff need to attend about 5,000 patient, 2,000 patient. So the margin, it's when it's increased, some staffs they become stressed, emotionally anger with the patient. Things like that happen. But when come to me personally, it doesn't.
Okay, that's very alarming actually, because considering the cases that we had in the middle of the year this year, I'm sure a lot of frontliners would have been so stressed, because like you said, 5,000 patients to 2,000, I mean 2,000 to 5,000, that's a huge amount, like a huge number to deal with. Probably you won't even be dealing with that on a monthly basis without a pandemic, right? Maybe not that
Yes.
many. So wow, that's a lot. So
It's like suddenly happened. So actually, it's none of us was prepared
yeah.
for that. So when it's happening sudden, so it's like some take it is like a new things to learn. Some people take it it's like a shocking,
Yeah.
it's like a culture shock. Something happened, so they can't overcome from that. They can't digest.
Yeah.
Oh, this, so I need to be there. So some people can't digest it. So that's where these kind of things happen.
Wow, that's you guys are like heroes for Malaysia. And then I have my fifth question, which would, I think you've already answered this question, which is adakah kesihatan mental anda menjejaskan prestasi? So I think you have answered it, but do you like your performance at work, like has it like did it affect your
Actually, it's not. Sorry, it's not menjejaskan my prestasi, but it's just that sometimes you feel tired because we are also human beings. We are not a robot. So when you usually we do like a normal shift in hospitals or what, we do on call maximum to 36 hours non-stop, things like that. But when we come to the pandemic, when we're taking care of a COVID patient, when we was in a situation where we short of staffs and things like that, so we have to like continue working for 2 days, like we have rest for 4 hours, 5 hours, things like that happen. But it was like at the beginning of situation, but as time goes, we also try to adjust it, manage to overcome it.
That's nice. Like you mentioned for the previous question, you mentioned that there were a lot of new doctors with not much experience. So this was kind of like a big thing for them, like for them to start working at this during this pandemic. Like their performance maybe would have not like you mentioned, it would have not really affected them that much, because they have to put in a lot of effort, right, to prove themselves and as well as help patients and also assist other frontliners, I suppose. So yeah, that's nice to know that not many of you were affected with your performance. You still kept going and still
Yeah.
make sure that your patient was your priority. So that's very
Yes.
nice to know. Okay.
Whatever, though we are tired, even though we are not sleep for 2 days
Yeah.
continuously, whatever. But we as a medical staff and especially as a doctor,
Yeah.
when we finish our studies itself, we already took oath that
Yeah.
whatever things we have to be there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like,
It's very inspiring because not getting sleep for 2 days, I can't imagine myself not getting sleep for a day. So 2 days, wow, that's a lot. I can't imagine what you guys would have what doctors and what you have gone through for during the span of 1 year, right? Around more than a year
yeah,
we've been in this
almost one.
pandemic. So I suppose it's like a lot of there's a lot being put onto you guys on such a short period. Like, suddenly the cases spike up to 20,000 to just
Yes.
it's just very scary. Like you don't know what's going to happen next. It's really scary that you won't know the cases tomorrow. You won't know what's the cases in 2 weeks time. So it's yeah, that's really alarming. So it's nice to know that the performance has not been affected that much. So my next question, if you are not comfortable to answer the question, it's no problem. So the
Mhm.
question is, how adakah anda menghadapi gangguan tekanan traumatik apabila ada kematian COVID-19? Have you felt traumatized after because you worked with a lot of COVID patients? Has that affected you? Like when you saw them die in front, just right in front of you, like they are dead.
Mm, it's not affected me in mentally. It's not okay because we come through a lot of patients, a lot of diseases day by day. It's just that I take it like a lesson in sense of if let's say this patient die, I mean ada mati ya, kematian. So I will try to think I mean within myself, what's the cause? Did I missed out anywhere
Yeah.
to cause him death? Did I is my treatment or service lacked anywhere? Because we are not taking care of one patient.
Yeah.
We are taking care of thousands, hundreds and thousands of patients. So that's how I tell myself and improve to minimize the death. That's all.
That's nice that it's not traumatized you because
Yes.
I believe you are very good in moving on. When you see a patient death, you evaluate your performance instead of feeling um, mentally traumatized, because you probably don't have time to feel traumatized because you have thousands of other patients to attend to take care
Yeah,
of.
it's not about the time. I mean, there is some of my colleagues also traumatized. I think it's upon it's individual.
Yep.
So when a mix of people, like for example, I won't traumatize and my next colleague is traumatized. So when there's a mix of people, then your team will be balanced. If let's say everyone is traumatized, then it's collapsed, it's done.
Yeah, correct. It's nice to have, you need a balance of some people who are stable and some people who are easily affected. So it's as much as the situation is sad, I'm sure you there are some people out there, like doctors out there, who feel really like a lot of pressure and probably mentally affected by COVID patients' death, because maybe the new doctors may not have experienced that as much as you would have, because they experience that you have. So it's nice to know. Thanks for letting me know that. So my last question, which is just a bonus question, because the seventh question is quite similar to this what I just asked you. So do you have do frontliners and have access to therapy, like Do they have, if they are in need of mental, they need help with their mental wellness, mental well-being, do they have access to psychiatrists, to counselors to help you cope with your with what you're struggling with, like your
Yes,
stress?
from most of the hospitals which are attending COVID patients, which is like a COVID hospital named as COVID hospitals, which is converted to COVID hospital. All the hospitals have their own team, psychiatry team, which is like included by counselors, all the doctors, and everyone to what to guide them if let's say they feel down or they feel they are out of this line, to bring them, to encourage them to bring back to the line. And in the MIBS also we have our own team, included by counselors and everyone lah. So because it's like what I told earlier, it's like in sudden, no one is prepared.
Yep.
Right. So it's in sudden. So from he was like having a good life, like go out, makan at mama, midnight, all things like that. Suddenly government announced full MCO. That's where even the public becomes stressed.
Yeah.
There's a lot of throughout this COVID situation, we actually attend a lot of patient with mentally disturbed.
Okay.
Because of this, because of they lost their job financially, and then like a daily routine, all was disrupted throughout this 1 year. I mean, actually, it's about almost 2 years, I think. Start from the first case.
Okay, that's very nice. Yeah. So, can I ask just another question? It's not in my list, but yeah. So, okay. So, do patients have? Do patients the patients that you have attended to, have they? Have you noticed? I mean, I'm sure that COVID patients are very down because they can't meet their families, and a lot of how do frontliners, what do frontliners do to help them, not only medically but mentally?
Mentally, for the patients also, usually we'll arrange a counselor also. Well,
Okay.
so if let's say some of the patient feel like down, or he or she feels stressed, they'll come and approach us to the doctors. Doktor, I rasa macam tak apa, stress lah. I rasa macam ada sesuatu saya dengar dalam kepala saya lah. All kind of this health issues. So we'll guide them. We'll involve a psychiatric team, which is counselor, to call them and counsel, or if needed, they'll come one-to-one and counsel. So apart from that, most of the place, they provide the Wi-Fi internet for them to, like, a 24 hours connect with their families, like video call or normal voice call, so that they won't feel the gap with the families. And apart from that, they provide in the MIPS, for example, in MIPS, they provide some TVs for them to spend, and then some board games for them to play among their friends and stuff like that. And usually when we go down in to see the patient also, we'll try to encourage them to find a new friends beside front bed, next bed, so that they also won't feel bored. And actually most of them, when they go out from MIPS, for example, after their about 10 days stays or 11 days stays, actually they go out with new friends, new contacts, new friends. So it's like they actually, some people didn't feel stressed when stay in MIPS. Some, about 60%, 60 to 70%, actually they enjoyed. Some of them, they don't want to leave from MIPS actually. Wow. Because for example, the patient A is discharging today, for example, and then patient B, he is discharging in another 2 days time. So the patient A don't want to discharged first because the friend is there, still there.
Yeah. Wow,
Things
that's
like
nice.
that. Things like that also happen. So in other way, it's a pandemic. In other way around, because in the MIPS, they feel like they're staying in a one village, like a multiracial village. So
Yep.
everyone is inside, so they share their stuff, they share their feelings, their sadness, happiness, all that. Mm.
So they have the patient to patient helping each other out.
Yes,
So
yeah. They are
that's nice.
born. It's like getting stronger, and then things like that. But of course, here and there they will miss families. So if like a situation like happen, like what you asked, if really they can't take, they already go to the extreme level on mental disturbance, then we'll counsel first. The doctors, we will counsel them. We'll try to counsel them as much as we can. If still they are not happy, or they still not feel like they are getting better, what, then we'll ask our counselor to counsel them.
Okay. That's very nice to know. So, I mean, people outside, like, we are really curious on how patients support themselves mentally. So, being our topic being mental health, we are so curious to know during this pandemic, especially there's actually been a hike in the number of mental health
Mm.
problems. So thank you so much for sharing with me today. That's all my questions I've already asked. So it was a pleasure meeting with you, Dr. Ganesh. It's very nice to know what in a frontliner's eye, what happens mentally, your well-being, and your colleagues, your patients. It's nice to get a nice insight on what happens. So thank you so much for joining me in this interview, and hope you
Thank
stay safe.
you, Miss. Okay, stay safe.
Stay safe. Okay.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
bye.